Let's talk about the user interface of Premiere Pro. For my workflow, I have 5 primary sections that I use every day in Premiere Pro. And the first section contains the source panel, the effects control panel. The next section contains the program panel, where everything that happens in the timeline is being displayed in. Then the next section is actually customized to my taste. That is, it contains all of the necessary windows that I can use to do some certain things. Next, I have the timeline section. To the left of the timeline, we have the tools panel. Next to that, I have the project manager and the media browser. Before I start talking about the necessary sections in Premiere Pro, there is something else I need to talk about. That is the various workspaces in Premiere Pro. So if I click on Window, then go to Workspaces, you will see the various workspaces. And if I click on something like Essentials, it will change the workspace appearance to something like this. But I prefer working with the All Panels workspace, and I can change this by clicking on this other icon here, which is Workspaces, and I choose All Panels. Very easy to do. So talking about the various sections in Premiere Pro, the first section I'll be talking about is this here, which contains the source panel, the effects controls panel, the text panel, and a lot more. And you can add more to this by going to Window, then you choose any window here and drag and drop here, and I'll show you how to do that using this project panel here. So under the source panel, you will see some different options here, or some different elements, and the main function of the source panel is to preview your clip before you send it onto your sequence for editing. Say for example, I have this clip here. I want to send it to my timeline for editing. I might decide to select a particular area that I want to edit. So if I want to do that, I can move the playhead around here. Then I click on Mark In, which marks in the first position. And then somewhere around here, I click on Mark Out to end the selection. Then I just drag and drop onto my timeline. And the particular section that I selected has been added to the timeline. So moving to the effects and controls panel, you'll notice that there's nothing here. But if I select this clip that I added to my timeline, the effects are now showing. And under this motion effect, we have some basic properties that we can play with, starting from the position, the scale, and the rotation. So we have other effects like the opacity, but we'll not talk about that. So say for example, I have this clip right here. I want to reduce the size. Using the scale property, I can reduce it to something around, let's say, this size. Then the position property, I can use it to position the clip. So moving on to the next section is a program panel. So for the program panel, as I earlier said, it previews what I'm working with on the timeline. Like for example, as I added this clip here, it's now displayed in this area. If I move to somewhere around here, you won't see anything. So that's the use of the program area, to just display everything you're working with. So the next section is all about the necessary windows that you can use in Premiere Pro. So what are these windows? Say for example, if you want to use some effects, where you can locate these effects is under the effects window, or let's say the effects panel. Yeah, let's call it panels. So under this effects panel, you have every effect that you want to work with. Or let's say you're working with the color. You want to change like the color or add some color grading. Under this lumetri color, you can find it here. And there are a lot more panels that you can add to this section. So to add that, you can come to Window. Then under the window here, you will find all of the panels that you want to work with. All of these options that are marked means that they are available panels that are already set into the Premiere Pro user interface. The next section is the timeline. The timeline is very useful. You need to really get used to the timeline area here. This is where you spend majority of your time while editing. So if you've ever worked with, let's say, Photoshop or Illustrator, you'll be familiar with this layout. The timeline is divided into 2 sections. The first one at the top being the video section, and the bottom part being the audio section, which displays every audio clip on the timeline. Next, we have the lock icon that locks in the layer, that you can't change anything there. We have this which labels the name of the layer. Then we have let's say the eye icon that can make it to be visible or not. Then for the audio section, we also have some other options like the mute, the solo, the mic, and a lot more which you can play with it to know the function. But mainly, this solo means that you want just this clip. Say for example, I have this audio clip here. and I have multiple audio clips. But again, since I'm doing my editing, I want to listen to just a particular clip at a time. If I click on this solo icon here, just this clip at the top will be playing, and that's very useful while editing because you need to test out some audio clips while working. So moving forward, we have the audio levels. This is very useful to monitor your audio levels while editing because you can monitor your levels here and adjust it. Under the audio panel, to the left of the timeline, we have the toolbox. Under the toolbox, we have the select tool, the razor tool, the pen tool, the shape tool, and a lot of tools that you really need to get used to it because they are very useful while editing. And last but not the least, we have this other section which is customized by me that contains the project manager and the media browser. Starting with the project manager, it contains everything that you need to work with. It contains the folders, the clips, and everything that you want to work with. Even the sequence you're working with, you can locate it under the project manager. And for this project that I've created, this is a sequence here under the project manager, which I can drag and drop to another sequence if I had multiple sequences. Then we have the media browser. You use it to locate, let's say you want to import a clip or something else, you can use this media browser. So clicking under these local drives, you will find that you see your drives here, or if you have a network drive, it will be located down here. But as for me, I don't have a network drive. So here, I think I've covered everything that I wanted to say concerning the user interface of Premiere Pro. The final thing I want to talk about is adjusting your panels. Say for example, you don't want this project manager to be here. You can just drag and drop to this section, and you'll find it here now. Same thing with this media browser. So the basic idea is that you can customize everything here that you want to your own taste by just dragging and dropping, and it automatically snaps like how this project manager was automatically adjusted here. So that's it for today's video, guys. Hope you learned something new concerning video editing in Premiere Pro as I went through all of the sections that I mostly use while editing my videos in Premiere Pro. If you want to see more videos like these concerning video editing, just subscribe to the channel so you'll always be updated about it. And also like the video so you support the channel grow. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.